If you go onto draftguru.com, you can see the average games per draft pick for each national draft since the first draft in 1981. And pick number 6 should stand out amongst the rest. Today, we're going to find out what happened to all number 6 AFL draft picks. The number 6 pick in 1981, Peter Hoffner, played 0 AFL games as he continued to play in the SANFL and actually won 3 premierships. Peter Motley was also a SANFL player, becoming a 2-time All-Australian and 2-time BNF, but only managed 19 AFL games for Carlton. There were no drafts in 1983 to 1985, but in 1986, Richard Cousins managed 57 games for Footscray from 1987 to 1989. In 1987, Essendon selected Andrew Rogers, who only played 8 games for them. He moved to Geelong and played 75 more games, and his last game was a grand final defeat to West Coast in 1992, returning to the SANFL after. Then, from 1988 to 1996, there was only one notable player. Alan Jakovic from the 1990 draft played just 54 games, but kicked 208 goals. He kicked his first 50 goals in 9 games, but after a persistent back injury and a failed stint at Footscray, he was forced to retire. The other players between 1988 to 1996 averaged just 23 games between them. In 1997, we have our first decent player, James Walker. Picked up by Fremantle, he played 151 games. However, he accumulated no notable accolades, apart from 2 grand final sprint wins, and had a winning percentage of just 41% through his career. In 1998, Murray Vance was selected by Carlton and played just 4 games as he was plagued by injury. In 2001, he managed just a single game before returning to the VFL. Damien Cupido was picked up by Brisbane as they peaked. He played 6 games in 2000, 7 games in 01, and no games in 02 as he was injured, before being traded to Essendon. He had a little more success here as he kicked 50 goals in 40 games, but after his laziness and lack of hard work sent him down to the reserves, he was delisted at the end of 2005. In the year 2000, Dylan Smith was selected by North and played 11 games in his first 2 seasons. After being delisted in 03, Freo added him to their list where he only played another 10 games. In 2001, we have another decent pick in Ashley Sampi to West Coast. However, there are a few unlucky occurrences in his playing career. In his second season, he kicked 4 goals in a win over rivals Fremantle. However, he was controversially not awarded Best on Ground. By a voting panel, he was judged the winner of the Glendinning Allen Medal, but it was overruled by the medal's namesake, Ross Glendinning. He was, however, rightfully awarded the medal 20 years later. In 2004, he took Mark of the Year, but a year later, he played in a grand final loss to Sydney, the famous Leo Barry mark.
One last roll of the dice for the Eagles! Leo Barry, you star!
The year after, in 2006, he missed out on the premiership as he was not selected. In 2007, he was placed on the long-term injury list and was delisted at the end of the year. Steven Salopek played 121 games for Port Adelaide across 9 years. Injuries heavily limited playing time, and he was a part of the largest thrashing in grand final history when Geelong defeated Port by 119 points. Kepler Bradley played 49 games for Essendon across 4 years. He was then delisted and selected by Freo in 2008, playing 68 games for them and leading their goal kicking in 2011. In 2013, he ruptured his ACL and never played again. Tom Williams played 85 games as a defender for the Bulldogs. While he was originally selected in 2004, he broke his ankle 3 times before debuting in 2007. Then, in 2005 and 2006, Hawthorn selected Bo Dowler and Mitch Thorpe, who played a combined 18 games together. Funny how in 2004 and 2005, Hawthorn drafted Roughhead, Franklin, Jordan Lewis, Xavier Ellis, and Grant Birchall, all within the top 14 picks. Yet they blundered pick 6 twice in 05 and 06. We should also begin to consider who else could have been picked instead of who was actually drafted at pick 6. After Bo Dowler in 05, Paddy Ryder, Sean Higgins, Nathan Jones, Shannon Hearn, Grant Birchall, and Travis Varco all followed within the next 10 picks. In 06, Joel Selwood was the pick right after Thorpe at pick 7. David Myers was selected in 07 for Essendon, and while he played 123 games, he was a victim of the Essendon drug saga. While this isn't exactly the worst pick, Patrick Dangerfield was selected 4 picks later. In 2008, Chris Yarran was selected by Carlton and managed 119 games in 7 years. There were no notable occurrences of bad luck his time at Carlton, but he had his famous goal of the year in 2012.
Handball inside was terrific. Yarran, still Yarran. Cheeky little bounce. Oh, well done. Runs towards goal. It's a chance. It's as good as you'll ever see.
In 2016, he was traded to Richmond, but didn't play a single game for them. A year later, he was let go after battling mental health issues. In 2009, we have our first player that breaks the number 6 draft pick curse, but it nearly seemed like he wouldn't. Gary Rohan played 106 games for Sydney and was famous for his after the siren goal against Essendon.
Ball at the back. Kick by Redby. Mark Rohan. It is unbelievable.
How did they do that from 19 points with 3 minutes or something?
They were 0-6. They're in the 8.
He can't believe it.
However, he missed plenty of games in his first 4 seasons, only playing 27 as he suffered injury after injury, and played in 2 grand final losses in 2014 and 2016. After being traded to Geelong in 2018, he played in his 3rd losing grand final in 2020. Rohan finally redeemed himself in the 2022 finals campaign, especially in the qualifying final.
With a fist further afield, look out, run down, Rohan.
You just know the way their coach stays, they'll keep going for that kick. It won't faze them. Selwood brilliant. Cameron loves that left foot snap, and he placed it for Gary Rohan brilliantly. Gary Rohan directly in front has pulled it back to just 3 points.
High ball forward, Rohan! It's gone right through the middle.
Long and deep, you sense. He's always been a powerful kick. Big pack forms. Oh, Rohan! Kick a goal after the siren twice to win a game. It's not quite there yet, but it's pretty close. Pretty good looking effort. How about that kick? The Cats are back in front.
Reece Conker had a solid start to his playing career, playing 71 games in 4 years. But as Richmond peaked, injuries limited his playing time to 15 games from 2015 to 2017. He regained a bit of form in 2018, but he was traded to Fremantle at the end of the year, where he played a full season of footy before retiring. Chad Wingard was a star at just 21 years old, having already made 2 All-Australians and winning Port Adelaide's best and fairest. He was also just 19 years old when he booted 5 goals, including the winner against Adelaide to win the Showdown medal in 2013, and also won the Mark of the Year the very next year.
One last chance. Boat brilliant. Wines. Monfrey's centering ball. Cassisi. Wingard. It rests on his boot. What a champion he is. He's 19 years of age.
Ebert. Wines is working for him. He goes longer. Wingard.
Oh,
Baby!
Oh!
There's your Mark of the Year.
I'll tell you what,
He's playing on. Let it go. You could see that coming from a mile away.
After playing 147 games and kicking 232 goals for Port, he was traded to Hawthorn, where injuries had stopped him from playing more than 17 games in a season for the last 5 years. And in 2024, he retired, having not played a single game that year. Jack Macrae is another player who breaks the curse. He won a premiership at 21 years old, has made 3 All-Australian teams, won the 2021 Gary Ayres Best Finals player, averaged 30 touches a game from 2019 to 2022, and is currently 6th all-time in average disposals per game. He's played a total of 249 games with the Bulldogs and is set to play for St Kilda in 2025. If you really wanted to nitpick his career, in 2024 he faced selection issues where he was the sub in 4 of his 19 AFL games that year, and even played a few VFL games where he racked up 46 touches against Gold Coast's VFL team. So, realistically, Gary Rohan, Chad Wingard and Jack Macrae have all broken the curse, barring a few injuries, as they've all played 200 or more games and are either All-Australians or Premiership players. This is also by far our best stretch of players, with the last 6 players averaging 177 games played. Matthew Scharenberg played only 41 games for Collingwood, as he tore his ACL 3 times during his career. He was delisted at the end of 2020. Caleb Marchbank played only 7 games for GWS in his first 2 years, before being traded to Carlton. He played most of the games from 2017 to 2019, before injuries saw him miss 2 years of footy. He played 15 games from 2022 to 2024, but was delisted at the end of the season. Aaron Francis was selected by Essendon in 2015, and after 2 poor seasons, he stepped away for a year due to his struggle with mental health. He finished with Essendon in 2022, playing 54 games, and moved to Sydney, where he's found a little more success, but couldn't comfortably break into the stronger side they played in the back end of 2024. Sam Petrevski-Seton actually had a pretty good start to his career, playing 94 games in his first 5 years, and having a breakout game against the Bulldogs, recording 35 disposals. But he sought a trade to his home state of Perth, where he was delisted after 2 seasons with the club. Jaidyn Stephenson should have been a star, earning Rising Star honours in his first year, and being Collingwood's starting forward pocket in the team which made the Grand Final. As most of us know, the next year, Stephenson was suspended for 10 games following a report which saw him place bets on 3 separate Collingwood games, none of which got up. He moved to North Melbourne at the conclusion of the 2020 season and managed to earn a second spot in the 22 under-22 team in his first year at Arden Street. But with a horrendous 12% winning percentage through 4 seasons at North, Stephenson soon lost passion for the game and retired at just 25 years old. Ben King, for the most part, has had a strong start to his career, booting 184 goals at the age of 23, leading Gold Coast goal kicking on 4 separate occasions and making 2 22 under-22 teams. His only major unlucky occurrence was when he suffered a torn ACL a month before the 2022 season, putting him out for that year. Apart from this hiccup, he booted 55 goals for a 5th place finish in the Coleman race in 2024, and looks primed to continue his goal-kicking talents. Fisher McCasey has been less fortunate, however. After only playing 10 games in his debut season, he never played another AFL game. In 2023, he officially stepped away, citing personal reasons and a lack of passion for the game. Denver Granger Barras suffered a similar fate, playing 28 games at the highest level before not playing a single game in the 2024 season and being delisted. 2 very unfortunate picks in 2019 and 2020. And it should be said that from now on, it's probably too early to judge the careers of our next 4 players. That being said, Josh Rachele has had a hot start to his career, making 2 22 under-22 teams and playing some really exciting footy. But it has come at the cost of criticism, as before the round 23 showdown between both Adelaide teams, Rachele said this.
Can just hear all the Port fans with their no teeth in the background. I did mention on Nova before that the Port supporters don't have many teeth, so that was a...
He was criticised by Kane Corns as well as his own teammate Rory Laird. Rachele continued his antics as he followed up on his comments, but then was omitted the very next week in the final round of 2024, although coach Matthew Nicks denied that it was because of his antics against Port. Bailey Humphrey has had a solid start to his career too, playing 40 games in his first 2 seasons at the Gold Coast, and is now contracted to the end of 2028. In his first year, Ryley Sanders played 14 games and was either subbed on or off in 5 of those games. He's had a few selection issues similar to Jack Macrae in 2024 for the Bulldogs, but because it's his first season, I'm happy to give it a pass. In the VFL, he played 7 games and averaged an amazing 32 touches per game. Since the first draft in 1981, only 11 pick sixes have gone on to play 100 games, and only 2 have made an All-Australian team in Jack Macrae and Chad Wingard. So now, we throw it on over to Harvey Langford, who has just been drafted by the Melbourne Demons. Will he thrive amongst his peers, or succumb to the curse of the AFL's No.6 draft pick?